first podcast of 2021. Oh, how much fun.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 2178. Hello, I'm Mike.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I hope your New Year's Eve was great. Saying goodbye to that awful year. Now we're here in 2021, and I fear we're gonna have a bunch of Republicans throw our government into some kind of mess because they've decided that they don't believe the elections happened. And I confess, that kind of makes me nervous.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
About any election in the future. Everybody's nervous about elections. If you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, you don't like
Mike's
anything.
Daily
You don't like the way
Podcast.
If you lost, you don't like the way the votes came in via mail because you don't trust mailmen. Mailmen are they are a evil group of people, mailmen. Let's defund the U.S. Post Office. Let's defund mailmen. When did we get so angry with... It's the mailmen that shouldn't get angry, right? They're the ones that go, quote unquote, postal. I'm just thinking of these things out loud. Baby, I shouldn't. But the other thing, that sounds like an Ed Sheeran song. I'm thinking out loud. We have fun right where we are. Ed Sheeran. Maybe Ed Sheeran's the only one who can save us. And then, if you don't like, well, oh my gosh, I made a vote, and now apparently a couple senators and representatives can get together and say, nope, those votes don't count, protest it. And then the president-elect doesn't get to be inaugurated, and then the whole country goes into shambles. I don't know. Is that what this is? Is that how we're starting off 2021? I'm getting all confused with the number of my show and trying to get used to 2021 because I'm trying to write a check because I'm trying to send it to you because I want to thank you for listening to the show, and I should pay everybody like P. Diddy did. He paid.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Paid Diddy. Paid everybody recently, and I didn't get in on that. Darn. And I should tell you more about that, because I just threw it out there and I don't know if you know the story. But apparently he helped 175 families pay rent. That's what it was. He surprised his mother also with $1 million and a Bentley for her 80th birthday. And he gave relief to a Miami neighborhood. This guy does a lot of great stuff. Okay. And he wears fantastic clothes, in my opinion. I mean, I could look pretty good in that Basil. Oh, we sure remembered Basil in remembering 2020 because we lost Basil in 2020. And we thought a lot about that, my lovely lady friend and I, on New Year's Eve. We poured a little champagne out on the ground for him. Not that would mean anything to him, but actually we weren't drinking champagne. We were drinking sparkling cider, because we were wanting to stay sober on New Year's Eve as we listened to swing music. Because someone I know named Craig Roberts does a 4-hour swing music show, and he's been doing it for like his entire life. So that's kudos to him for that. And I helped him get it on the air with my careful, meticulous programming skills. Kudos to me, because that was a lot of work. Because there was a lot going on there trying to get that show on the air. The behind the scenes work. And it's funny because we're using a computer software program that we will be updating in 2021. I'll be able to say goodbye to this software program that we're using currently that is ancient, that was created by complete anti-radio-ish people they're all programmers and not radio-minded. They think they know radio, but they haven't got the foggiest notion of how a radio programmer thinks. Or anybody, a producer thinks, anybody involved with radio, they have no concept. And it's just these computer numbers and zeros and ones type people Well, they should learn my way. No, you should learn our way. I don't know why we got into this program to begin with. And luckily, our company showing a tremendous amount of foresight said, hey, and by the way, hindsight is 2020 finally. Bye-bye 2020. You're in the rear view mirror. Ciao, baby, ciao. The dogs bark at your feet. What? Ciao, baby. The Cult. Remember the Cult? The band, the Cult? There's that Cult, that band was underappreciated. And I'll be the first to admit I underappreciated that band in the 80s. It wasn't until later. I mean, I remember when Firewoman came out. Fire! I mean, but those guitar riffs, if I could play the guitar, that would be like something I would want to learn. Or Rain, or is it Sanctuary? Oh, gosh, I could list all the great... Who was the lead singer? I would like to apologize for... Is it Ian Astbury? And they were from England. Bradford, West Yorkshire, England. Guitarist Billy Duffy co-wrote the songs with Ian Astbury. Wow. She Sells Sanctuary, thank you. Peaked at number 15. Spent 23 weeks in the top 100. This is in England. It was voted number 18 in VH1's Indie 100 in June of 85. Where was I? I was listening to the band that kind of looked like the Cult but didn't sound like them, called King. Da-da-da-da, that's what my heart yearns for now. Love and pride. So, Ceremony was a album they did, and I don't remember that they were sued by the parents of the Native American boy pictured on the cover of Ceremony. Oh, for alleged exploitation and for the unauthorized use of the child's image. Huh. Anywho, I was thinking about them this morning. I woke up just thinking of Cult songs. That one. Do you know what I'm saying? So just show a little love to the Cult today. Or is it just Cult? Duffy and Astbury cited among their influences a lot of different bands from The Doors to Led Zeppelin. We literally went from the front of our record collections to the back, and then along the way we were drawn in by the likes of Public Image Limited, Joy Division, Susie and the Banshees, and Bauhaus. Bauhaus later turned into Love and Rockets. And of course, there was Peter. I just lost my train of thought. Peter Murphy, thank you. So go outside a cafe anyway. We're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley 10 today. Podcastro Valley 10. I grew up in Southern California, the big radio station there for alternative rock, for the Cult, Love and Rockets, everybody like that was K-Rock. And they're still around today. I don't know if they're that good. I haven't listened to them in a while, but that was some... When you needed a break from the constant rotation of the top 40 that was happening in the 80s, you went over to K-Rock, and they were in the 80s saying rock of the 90s. I will tell you that discussing K-Rock is one of my better activities that I enjoy doing, enjoyable activities. In fact, I was getting a wisdom tooth removed about 20 years ago, and I remember the guy removing my tooth. He heard I was in radio, and he starts talking about K-Rock with me, and I'm talking to him, and he numbs my teeth and didn't even put me out, yanks my wisdom tooth out while he's talking to me about K-Rock. And I'm like, oh, did you do it? Am I done? Yeah, you're out of here. Bye. What? Thanks. I gotta get my wisdom teeth removed in 2021. I'm not looking forward to that. Maybe I should try and track down that wonderful dentist who loves that radio station so much. But quick plug, KKDV. I will be on that radio station in the morning, kkdv.com. 9 a.m. actually to 4 p.m. So throughout Sunday, you'll be able to hear me, and hopefully every Sunday in 2021. And details at kkdd.com. Also at mikesdailypodcast.com. Actually, go to mikesdailypodcast.com since I pay money for that to keep that online. And you know, the longer Mike's Daily Podcast lasts, the longer that name, Mike's Daily Podcast, is becoming kind of enviable, wantable. People want it. People want to snag that because there are a lot of mics out there and a lot more podcasts. I don't know if they want to attempt to do a daily one. It's tough for me to do. I got interrupted by New Year's Eve being crazy for feeling blue. I was going to go into the Dave Matthews crazy, but I suddenly forgot how that went. Sorry. So Ken, who's been on the show a couple times this year or last year in 2020, and who started his own podcast called Mornings with Maria, he and I were working together at a radio station on New Year's Eve on Thursday, and everything was going wrong. Everything. There was a show that was supposed to come to us via satellite, and those guys just dropped the ball and disappeared. I don't know what happened, so we're scrambling to put something on the air. All kinds of craziness. So my New Year's Eve started kind of late. My lovely lady friend called her relatives in Texas, and we had a wonderful chat about how 2020 was for us and how we're hoping for better in 2021. There was yesterday a lot of sleeping on my New Year's Day. Lots of catching up with rest, having some odd dreams. Dreaming I was stuck in a supermarket trying to get out, but there were a lot of people wanting to check out buying plants. Does that mean anything? Plants are good, I guess. Okay. Oh, the picture today, by the way, completely burying the lead. I went to an interesting place in East Richmond Heights. And I'm going to post a picture. You take a look at it. Let me know what you think. But it's very interesting. There are the merging of two cultures, the mergation of two cultures in this. We've got the European culture with Christmas and then something very Eastern involved in the photo. I'd like you to take a look at it at mikesdailypodcast.com. Or you can also find me on Instagram and all the links at mikesdailypodcast.com. The links, delicious, hot links. Here's a bizarre headline I'm reading. There's a country star by the name of Tyler Rich. He recalls a horrific experience of discovering a dead body while jogging on New Year's Eve. What? How did that pop up in my feed? It must have known I used to be on a country radio station. The most recent one was countrycrossroadsradio.com. I don't believe that's in existence anymore. And then before that, I was on KHAY in the Ventura County area. And then, I tried to launch a country station in Alabama called The Wolf. Because every country station was called The Wolf for a while. And I did that. And hey, maybe I should have done a little bit of prep work before I took that job. Because all I would have had to have done was a quick Google search, a quick Wikipedia glance would have told me, and this is how it went actually. If I may tell this story about how you should do, and this is all to teach you, do your research beforehand. This is something I am guilty of not doing. I do not do my research, and it comes back to bite me in the behind area. And you know, I've been trying to do research as of late to get rid of a car that I drove in for 13 years. I have to get rid of it because it didn't pass smog, and it has to be junked. And I did some research. That's how I spent my New Year's Day, was trying to find a way to get rid of it. I'm going to get a total of $220 for it. Because it couldn't pass smog, even though you could still drive this car around I'm only going to get $220. Yikes. Tell me what you think about that. 336mm daily. 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM as in Mike Matthews. Daily as in what this podcast will try to be for the next couple of days. We'll see. Hey, so back to what was the thing? I got distracted. This happens to me once in a blue moon. Mike Matthews gets distracted by a shiny, glowing thing that flies by outside a cafe anyway. Somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Alabama. So back in Alabama. All right. So I moved from California to Alabama, and I was married at the time. My wife was all, let's do this. So I moved there because I wanted to become a program director. I wanted the position to, start a radio station. And I get there, they're promising me, we're going to put this radio signal on a brand new transmitter. Right now, the transmitter is really far away from the city, this big city that we wanted to get, the number one ratings in. And so they put but the transmitter right now was super far away. At this point, was really far away. So they promised me we're going to put the transmitter right in the middle of the city on this tall mountain. It'll be right there and everyone will be able to hear it in the city. And so you'll increase the ratings, because in radio, just like in real estate, where it's location, 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 in radio, it's all about how strong your power is coming out of your transmitter. If it's really a strong signal that you can get anywhere, chances are you'll have a much better ratings. It seems to work that way. So the country station that we were going up against had really strong ratings, had really strong transmitter, and had a long tradition of being in the city. And so people just naturally, when they thought of country radio, they thought of the call letters to the station. So all of this was promised to me, and I never went to look up the radio station that I was, the frequency that I was going to be taking over. And it turns out that the frequency that I was taking over had been a radio station before, a country radio station before. It had been a country radio station many times. One time it was called the Possum. One time I think they called it USA. Just that was the USA and then the frequency. It's USA number. Country radio on USA number. And then we were going to be the wolf and be this brand new thing and brand new shiny toy. We're going to play the hot hits of country music. And did it work? No, didn't work, because the frequency was awful. You could not hear it. Even though the transmitter was right in the middle of the city, you couldn't hear it because we had to reduce the power level down. And we had a horrible engineer who didn't know what he was doing, and he made it sound terrible. And I would just drive just outside of the city limits, and I couldn't hear the station. I'm thinking, who's going to hear this? You couldn't even hear it inside of a building. It was so bad. So just a nightmare. That's what radio people go through, folks. That's the nightmare scenario for a radio person. Tyler Rich had a nightmare situation on New Year's Eve, and I guess you could read about it online. I don't think I want to read the rest of this story, but it sounds like he had a bad night finding a dead body. Meanwhile, Tesla fell just shy of their target after a record fourth quarter. They missed their goal of 500,000 vehicles last year, selling it. Hey, if you didn't charge gosh, those things are expensive, those Teslas. And everybody in the Bay Area seems to have one. There's a lot of powering stations for it, but economically, it just doesn't seem to work out. I want clean energy. I want less fossil fuels in the air, but I also don't want to be broke. All that to say, look who's outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valleyton. Hello, Michael Master, it's Madame Rootabega, and I hear that you had a great New Year's Eve. Oh, yes, it was great. We had, apple cider drink, It didn't make us tipsy, but it was bubbly. And all you need is a little bit of bubbles on New Year's Eve, and everything's going to be good. Hey, right now, I took a picture of myself, and I'm recording a video on the YouTube. Yes, because there is a YouTube channel for Mike's Daily Podcast, and you should check it out at mikesdailypodcast.com. Happy New Year, everybody! Sorry, that visually looks much better than it sounded. Just want to let you know. But Cafe, look who else is out here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley.
Mike, this show kind of sounds like it's in Shambles Day.
Yeah, Shambles. Yeah, next show will be a little bit more organized. Just wanted to say hi and Happy New Year out to everyone and thank them for listening. And hopefully they keep listening in 2021. I will keep making podcasts in 2021. Hopefully keeping my sanity in 2021, as you should also try to do as well. Madame Rootabega, did you have a good New Year's Eve?
Yes.
Was there lots of people at your place?
Yes.
Did you all socially distance?
No.
Uh-oh. You should be a little bit further away from me then.
Yes.
Did you know we had this discussion, a couple people and I recently. We were all wearing masks, unlike Madame Rootabega, and standing at least 20 feet away from each other. So we were shouting. Shouting with a mask on is kind of difficult. Smiling with a mask on is completely pointless. Can't even... It just doesn't work, does it? So I'm having this conversation with them at a distance, and we're just discussing how a lot of health people are afraid of taking the vaccine, and that there's a lot of just fear in general about what the vaccine will do to you, how sick will you get when you take it, if you take it, does it, what kind of symptoms will you get, and all that. And it just, there's a lot to, boil down and confront in 2021. But I think for the most part, we still just need to last night was a perfect example. We went to visit some friends in the general area of the podcast picture in the East Richmond Heights. We visited, this is how we did it. And these are people that work for Kaiser. If you're not in the Bay Area, it is a health network, health maintenance, what do you call it? Prevention they keep you healthy. Thrive is their slogan. And so one of the employees of Kaiser was talking to us. We were like 10 feet apart, wearing masks, standing outside in the cold. And my lovely lady friend it was her friend, so my lovely lady friend wanted to hug her friend, and her friend is like, no, we can't hug. Keep your masks on, stay far away. This is the best way. This is the only way. And that's how it has to be. Even though it's cold, wear a mask and a hat and chaps. No, you don't have to wear those, but wear something warm when you say hi to your friends. The next show, it'll be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer. Not as much in Shambles next show, hopefully. Thank you for listening, and we'll do a great 2021 year of podcasts. Thanks to you. Chime in at 336MM Daily. Thanks for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!